Hey guys, welcome back to Verbalist. In this video, you're going to understand top 10 mistakes that are made in grammar. And if you correct these mistakes, you are on the way to scoring a band 8. Let's get started. Mistake number 10 is using the wrong tense form. Now, you know how to use tenses in the IELTS test. For this video, you should be using the correct tense form of the verb. If you make this mistake, the examiner is not going to understand what your sentence is, and hence your score can come down to a band 6. So let's say it's past perfect, present perfect, perfect continuous, whatever the tense form is, make sure you know what the past participle is and what the past tense form of the verb is. It is very necessary for you to know this, and this also counts as a vocabulary error. Now, mistake number 9. Confusion between however and although. However is used to contrast two events, whereas although is used to give an unexpected outcome for a certain input that you'd given. For example, you can use however like this. It rained, however it remained sunny. Now, you're trying to contrast two things here, and it makes a lot of sense. Let's say you want to use although for the same event, it rained. Although it rained, I stepped out of my house. Now, in the second example, you're expected to stay in, but you still stepped out. That's the meaning of although, whereas however is to contrast two events. Now, let's go to mistake number 8. Mistake number 8 is also an extension of mistake number 9 because a lot of students confuse conjunctions and connectors. Now, connectors are used to establish connections or cohesion between ideas or paragraphs, whereas conjunctions are used to join two sentences, phrases, or words. Now, these are totally different things. You can be doing the same thing with conjunctions, but here you are specifically joining two sentences. It's not about two paragraphs or two ideas. For example, you can say to begin with, or the first reason why this happened is a connector, whereas and, yet, for, even though, while, if, all of these are conjunctions. Notice this difference and use these connectors and conjunctions correctly. Alright, now that leads us to mistake number 7. The most common mistake here is with and. So when you want to add thoughts to what you want to say, you just either extend the same sentence or break, put a full stop and start off with the next sentence. You don't start your sentences with and. For example, someone asks you, do you play sports? If you play sports, now you may answer, I do like playing sports. I've been into sports since a long time, and I like playing basketball, and I like playing tennis. That's incorrect. Instead, remove the and say, I like playing basketball and tennis. I've been exposed to these sports since childhood, and so on and so forth with your answer. That leads us to mistake number 6 is also a very, very big mistake, which is structuring sentences incorrectly, not maintaining subject-verb agreement, not putting commas and full stops correctly. Now, as much as you understand the grammar rules, it is also important for you to apply them while you write or speak. So make sure these sentences come out of your mouth clearly. There has to be a subject in the sentence, a verb that's describing what that action is, and an object that's receiving that action. And the verb form should be in agreement with what the subject is. If the subject is singular, the verb also has to be singular. And same way, if the subject is plural, the verb form also has to be in its plural. Make sure you understand the rule of putting commas, using conjunctions and subject-verb agreement correctly. Mistake number 5, prepositions incorrectly. Now, I've seen this with a lot of students. Either they miss out on using prepositions altogether, or they just don't use them correctly. Now, in, on and at are the ones that cause a lot of confusion, along with for and since. Now, for the ease of learning prepositions easily, we've prepared a PDF. We've also done an Instagram post on this. I'm just tagging that post here so you can understand how to use in, on, at, for, since, from, for, until, to, all of these prepositions. Number 4 is confusing tenses with passive voice. You need to remember that passive voice is a sentence structure. This is the structure of passive voice. Object, then comes the verb, and then the subject. So you are trying to define what is happening to the object of the sentence with the help of passive voice. Tenses, on the other hand, define the time frame in which a certain event has happened. So you can't confuse the two. Now, passive voice can also occur in these tenses. Okay, so if you still have confusion, you can check out this video on tenses to understand the difference between passive voice and tenses, or passive voice and past perfect. Okay, now that leads us to mistake number 3. Top 3 mistakes actually happen with nouns and using nouns correctly. So here is the third mistake. Third most common mistake is using articles correctly. Remember, a and an are indefinite articles. So if you're not talking about a specific noun, in my case, if you're not talking about this pencil, you're talking about any pencil in general, then you use a. And if it's a noun that has a vowel, then you use an. But if you're talking about this pencil in specific and you know the description of the noun that you're talking about, then you use the definite article the. There are also other exceptions to these rules of articles, but the most common one is this. And that leads me to mistake number 2, which is confusion between possessives and plural. Now, possessives are formed by using apostrophe s, whereas plurals are formed by just adding an s. So please remember that if you add apostrophe s to a noun, you are defining something that belongs to the noun. In this case, if I am talking about this one, this portion of the pencil which is black, this portion of the pencil, the pencil's portion that is black in color, is the front of it. Pencil apostrophe s portion. Now if you're talking about many such pencils, then it's just s without the apostrophe. Not the least, a confusion on how to form a plural noun and a plural verb. Remember that plural nouns are formed by adding an s or es behind them. Sometimes there can be irregular formats as well, such as women, men, fish, feet, teeth, etc. Now, in certain cases, you do add an s behind the verb. In that case, the verb is in its singular form and not plural. So you will say, I think, we think, they think, he or she or it thinks. Okay, that's how you use singular form of verbs, whereas for plural nouns, you put this me to the end of this video. I hope you understood why and how you've been going wrong in grammar, and if you have questions, please reach out to me in the comments. I will take them. I've also put up my email ID. If you have questions, you can reach out to me there. If you want to be a part of my advanced programs, check out my advanced courses and give me a text on WhatsApp and we'll help you choose the right course. Meanwhile, I'll see you guys in another video. Until then, keep practicing. Bye bye. Have a great day.